Officials from Europe and the countries of Africa, the Caribbean and Pacific have called for action to help cut debt in the world's poorest countries. At talks in Togo, parliamentarians from 78 nations demanded the debt be cancelled or rescheduled. 1/3 of ACP countries are in or on the verge of debt distress. They say that any funds found during that process should be used to provide education and healthcare, especially to fight HIV/AIDS.
80% of Africa's population still rely on traditional medicines, herbs and fruits that they can find out in the wild areas. Wild areas that we know are under threat, and of course the populations are moving to urban areas. So it's a double whammy really. They're losing their skills and their knowledge. We need to protect that.
Also top of the agenda was the conflict in lawless Somalia and its effects on the wider famine in the Horn of Africa, which has killed tens of thousands of people. ACP countries say that Europe's part of the food security problem as its farm subsidy system floods their markets with cheap produce. Farmers make up 70% of the population in some poor countries, and they are simply unable to compete.
Je souhaiterais attirer votre attention sur la situation dramatique des communautés pastorales qui sont les premières victimes de la sécheresse et qui ne bénéficient d'aucune aide gouvernementale.
Amid the party atmosphere, other hot topics were refugees fleeing Libya and the impact of Europe's Lisbon Treaty on poorer countries. The next meeting is in Denmark in May.
Croatia, HIV/AIDS and the European Central Bank, just three of the items on the agenda of the late November plenary session in Brussels. Members are expected to vote in favour of Croatia joining the EU, although that's unlikely to happen before July 2013. The actual accession document will be signed when EU leaders meet at the European Council on the 9th of December. MEPs are expected to have their say about that too. On Thursday, there'll be discussion on calls to beef up the EU's response to the HIV/AIDS epidemic. And there'll also be debate on the long-delayed association agreement between the EU and Ukraine.
We don't think this is correct to have in the penalty code articles accusing people for political decisions or make them criminals because of taking political decisions.
The new president of the European Central Bank, Mario Draghi, will present the annual report of the ECB for 2010, the first time he's done that since taking over the role. MEPs will also vote on their code of conduct, which obliges them to reveal outside earnings or any links with lobbyists. Another topic under discussion will be the problem of young people leaving school early without proper qualifications. More than 14% of Europe's youngsters do that, boys rather, more than girls. A report proposes government money to encourage them to stay on, a counselling service and perhaps an alternative to higher education.
This might be second chance schools where they can go to when they're a bit older, or it may be another sort of method that is appropriate.
The ongoing violence in Egypt and the coming elections will also feature on a packed agenda. Should be enough to keep the members busy.